Hi everyone. Welcome to the new episode on SaaS System Integrated Partnership podcast series. Today we have Vivek Singh with us. Hi Vivek, welcome to the show.
Hey Shankar, thank you for having me.
Thanks Vivek. Vivek, before diving deep into the questions, why shouldn't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Hi everyone, this is Vivek here. I head growth for Latentview Analytics, primarily focusing on technology and media and entertainment verticals. Latentview is an end-to-end full spectrum data and analytics provider. We work like everything at the intersection of data, right from origination to consumption. And we've been in the business for almost 18 years now, primarily focusing on this space. And we are a verticalized organization, and I manage the two verticals. But beyond that, like we operate in several different domains, financial services, industrials, retail, CPG. Uh, and from my perspective, like I have been with part of Latentview for the last 5 years, and beyond that, like overall 20 years plus in the industry, doing multiple types of roles. Started with tech, but then have been into more client-facing business roles for the last 10 years. I have been also an entrepreneur at certain point in time, and so that's been my journey, and looking forward to the conversation, Shankar.
Thanks Vivek, for the nice introduction. Always happy to meet a fellow entrepreneur. Once you're an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. So you also gave a quick introduction about Latentview. So, but I would like to say that could you tell what is your kind of KRA in the in the company, right? And also to achieve the KRA, what are the kind of challenges you face? Yeah.
For sure. So Latentview, as I said, so we work on very specific client problems. And what we do is, right, while we look at like what is the client looking for, what are the business outcomes, what are the business strategies that clients are trying to achieve, and then work backwards how we can help them using data, using analytics, AI. And from my perspective, like I'm in the front end sales and growth side. So what we do is we collaborate, partner with our clients. And these are like Fortune 500 firms, bigger firms in different areas. And we work with them to see like how they are using their data currently. What are they trying to do? And then what are the business objectives? And can we help them by building custom solutions? Or maybe providing insights that would drive the needle or move them to the next level. So this is the very consultative working with the client and helping them derive the business outcomes. So that is the part of the role that I play. And in this role, like, yes, it is being supported by multiple internal teams and divisions that we have. So the way the organization is structured is we have the front-facing team, we have also the delivery organization. And Latentview, if you might be aware, like we are one of the first firms in the data analytics space that went public. So we are a listed company in India in 2021. And we also did a recent acquisition earlier this year, Decision Point Analytics, which again comes with a very solid background in revenue growth management. That is one domain and area that they work. And CPG is another domain that they have several different solutions. So what we do is we try to bring these synergies together, and again, like the client base, as I said, that we are verticalized, so we work across industries and verticals with some of the big names out there. And what it helps is, right, a lot of cross collaboration that we do. So some problems, some area that we might have already solved, we try to bring those learnings in and then speed up the go-to market. So that is one of the aspects that we usually do in our engagements, in our client interactions. And in this process, as I said, and we had been discussing, we partner a lot, right? So we partner with the big cloud providers, and at times we also look at if there are some niche technologies and solutions, how that can complement our offerings, and can we take it jointly out. So those that's the realm of the work that we do.
So Vivek, I think I went through the, your LinkedIn profile. I think you also introduced. It's like you're primarily covering media, entertainment, and technology sectors, right? So what are the things you find in the media and entertainment, especially from a SaaS product? Like, what are the kind of work you do, and what do you expect? Like, is there any opportunity for the, the viewers if there are media and entertainment SaaS startups, is there an opportunity for it to partner with them? So could you a little bit elaborate there?
Sure. So yeah, so media and entertainment, if you see for the last since pandemic and beyond, space has evolved or changed a lot, right? The way the audience consumes media, the way the sector itself, it has moved from the traditional TV to OTT to online streaming platforms. So a lot of work that is being done is understanding the customer preferences, trying to get them more engagement through content, because a lot of spending happens on the content side of things. Apart from that, how pricing is an important part of it. So there are like different dimensions in the media entertainment industry, and how we can provide more insights using the data. And can you help solve some of these challenges, right? Because the content creation, engagement, keeping the audience retained. So it's again, if you see, it's a SaaS type of an offering, right? Because you have a subscription offering from different media providers. So that is where a lot of work or a lot of our effort or the solutions that we are building or looking at goes into. And we would see that if there are startups who are tackling this space, who have an understanding of, and some of these things are transferable, right? If you have been working in a subscription business, how do you engage the customer? How do you retain them? How do you identify their preferences depending upon their viewing patterns? So a lot of these things we have been analyzing, but then surely there is always a room for, if someone has done something very specific, which has driven the needle or provided results, it would be interesting to see how we can partner, collaborate, and take it forward.
Specific areas, where you are looking for, or it's a case-to-case basis, it depends upon the, the startup or the value they add?
It will depend upon case to case basis, Shankar, a lot, because at times what happens is, right, data can be a challenge. How are you integrating the data from the different sources, from different viewing patterns? And some of these platforms also have multiple services that they provide outside of it. Can you bring that data and give a full customer view? So that is like that one area from the data engineering or data side of things. Now with data engineering comes a lot of different things, right? How do you govern that data? How do you structure it? How do you provide the curated data? Whether it's on-prem, whether it's on cloud. Most of this for streaming is on cloud. How do you do real-time analytics? So it goes from case by case. Like, I don't think that anyone has broken the code for doing it end to end. But then there are like modules of it, right? So if a startup or if someone has an offering which has good command or some solution for the streaming data, where you can do a real-time stream analysis and then provide those insights. I think that is one area. Maybe on the content side, if someone is doing a lot of work and has some specific solutions around that, that can be another. So I think if you see the entire value chain, you can find out that there are pockets of it, and it will depend upon what particular solution does well, and is there a space for it to be taken to a larger audience?
Got it. Sure. And you also mentioned about the technology sector, right? We all look up to these big boys, right? I think with Google, Microsoft, So we are wondering, like, what kind of value addition you as Latentview you do to the big boys, which they themselves cannot do it.
Right. No, that's a good question. So we've been like working technology has been one of the bigger verticals within Latentview, and we've been working in this sector for almost, I say, 12 plus years. We have customers who've been working with us, and some of the biggest names that are there in this sector. Uh, what we have seen is, right, that a lot of our work involves into the business side of these high tech and tech firms. It will depend upon, say, marketing. It will depend upon the product analytics. It depends upon the finance. So there are like a lot of this business side of functions where they need help and support of how do they get the best ROI, or how do they get these insights quickly to improvise upon their offerings, to improvise, because the core product build is usually managed by the team, internal teams, right? But to build that product, because product, all of these, most of them are product, and they also have the services on top of it. So what we have seen is that marketing, say I will take an example, marketing is a big area for Latentview, like in the tech organizations, where we have been like working across these big names, helping them get the best ROI out of their marketing dollars. And then a lot of these are SaaS firms, right? So how do you take the entire customer journey, right, from acquisition to retention, right? Acquisition, engagement, retention, everything. So how do you take these data-based interventions and then help them get more customers, retain those customers, and then make them the champions? So that's what we have been doing a lot in marketing, in product, right? How do you quickly provide those product-related insights to the product team so that they can start providing new features, see if the features are getting good traction. If not, what can be quickly changed? So those are some of the other areas that we work on. So we have seen, like, and again, as I said, that there is a lot of cross-pollination and the knowledge that we have built over the 12, 15 years, which has helped us really well in identifying and understanding the problem and then quickly working with data, with AI to solve that.
Got it. Got it. It gave a good perspective. So I think again, Latentview itself is now 2000 plus employees, Vivek.
Yeah, we are heading towards 2000, close to somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, and I know majority of the tech analytics, this one. So where do you see a fitment of another product in your journey? How do you see that? Yeah.
Yep. So usually, Shankar, the way we see it is, right, there is an entire spectrum of things that happen in the client organizations. And as I was describing the media entertainment example, or maybe even in the data side of things, right? So we are partners with a lot of hyperscalers, and then Databricks is one who we partner very closely. And in fact, as an organization, like, we have prioritized going with Databricks and expanding our relationship as well as the market with them. So what we see is, right, in the data space itself, I think we see a lot of areas of partnership that are there. Cloud, if you see, observability is one area where the data, how do you manage the data and see that on an ongoing basis? That is one area where we see like a lot of work is being done. There are startups and niche solution providers that are there. Cloud cost is another area, right? A lot of organizations have moved to the cloud, but then the cloud costs are surely spiraling up. So are there specific tools, platforms that can address that and help optimize the cloud cost? Beyond that, like in the analytics space, there will be very domain specific offerings. So as I said, that as we are verticalized in banking, financial services, or say in retail CPG, if there is very specifically targeting to that domain and then solutions around that, those are the things I would say. What I would mention is that try to solve a specific problem and see that if you can bring some outcomes which drive ROI, or which help reduce cost, or in some way help the client organizations, I think then we would be very interested to explore and talk about it and try to see if where they fit within our external market and clients.
Some interesting points, right? You say so. As a startup, you say that they need to come very specifically, which is missing in your whole offering to a particular client. That will excite you, or is it like, for example, you mentioned about Databricks and large client which is spread across everything. So what kind of for a SaaS startup, if not, when I say startup, even they may be funded and all. So what will be the 2-3 conditions which will make it exciting for you, Vivek?
Right. So I
Yeah.
would say the first thing is, right, it always will be that are there solutions out there with the startups or with other organizations that can augment our offerings. So that will be the first thing that we would look for. And that's how we do the evaluation as well. That do they bring something that adds to what we already have? Or in fact, in some areas, if we are just exploring it new, okay, we may not have something, and can it add to that outcome or offering, right? So that is the first thing that we would look for. And again, as I said, that if they have done it in a production environment, if they have worked with the client in solving those, that will help us really to validate that this has worked and all. Because at times what we have seen is that startups are still building their product platform, and they need an audience to validate it as well. Some of those, probably it happens that because we are taking or we are working with these startups to take them to the larger market or the audience, some validation, prior validation is surely required. And that is where I would say, but areas will be like depending upon the domain or probably a very particular technical feature or technical area that they are addressing.
Will there be existing case studies about their offering, or do they have relevant logos for you? Will it be a mandatory condition, or it doesn't really matter?
No, not exactly a relevant logos for us, because logos, I think they can, but at least I think some validation of that this has been used, users have used it in a production environment, and then they have provided a feedback. Because see, usually what happens is, right, data is what we deal with and build solutions on top of it. And data is also very scary part of it, because when the organizations, they are very protective about their data, right? So taking a solution to a client, and it can be a small or a big client, but data is like they want to be protective. And have we done due diligence? Have we looked into all the security features, the aspects of it? How are you going to deal with that data in case you are taking that data on your platform and providing that service? So I think there are like several of these areas which needs to be hashed out beforehand. And that is where I was coming from, that if it has been done or implemented for some of the clients, these things have been taken care, and at least some experience around that product with related to data, with related to security, with related to ramp up, with related to downtime. So all of these things have been addressed in certain form and fashion, right? So that is something we would like to know. And then beyond that, like how much customizable the offering is. Because what happens is, right, as I was saying, that there may be that augmentation part of it. So we may have some offering, and this offering augments on top of it. Is there a way of customizing and working together to take it as a combined solution out there? Or is it something that customization is not there? Then we'll have to see how it fits into the overall scheme of things. So there are different aspects that we will have to look into and see what fits and what doesn't fit.
You touched upon a customization. For example, you're approaching a new client, right? And they're given a little broader problem, right? And within that, Latentview is solving some of the problem, and you are expecting another product which will be fitting or augmenting. Now, but even that product is not 100% solving it. You want to develop something more. Now, who will have the IP in the process, Vivek? Because some knowledge is coming from the client, some knowledge coming from the SA or the analytics company, something coming from the product. So how do you look into those aspects, especially it's a joint ownership?
Right. A very good question, Shankar. So what we say is, right, we ourselves don't call us as a product company. We are more of a services company. What we have built over like is accelerators or customizable modules, which we use to deploy and speed up the go-to-market or the process for our clients, right? So at that point, I think what we do is that customization, and that resides in the client environment. It is for them to keep, and then we work, provide services on top of those things that we have deployed. So that is our way of engaging, our way of working with the clients. Now, if you see a SaaS provider or third party that we are trying to collaborate on, It may be that, yeah, they are a product company, they have a SaaS platform, they come with their own IPs, right? And what happens is in this scenario, it will depend upon what kind of flexibility the third party has with their IP. Is it going to be deployed externally, internally within the client environment? What client, if they have that flexibility of transferring some kind of a data if it is externally hosted or if it is within their firewall or then it will depend upon the IP discussions usually are tricky. And again, depending upon how much flexibility is, at times we have seen that your clients are okay with honoring the IP, and then there is a mechanism where it works like three-way kind of a thing. But the owner IP ownership, I think the product company, if they own the core IP, they will keep owning it. There is a services contract that works on top of it where it can be used in through the services contract. And if there is a joint build that is happening, I think then will depend upon what each party is bringing into it, and if there is a separate contract that can be created out of it.
What is your perspective of number of partnerships you have done with Latentview? After them, how many are large companies like the cloud service providers are the large companies, and how many might be smaller bespoke, which is augmenting your your services?
Right. So in that case, Shankar, our major focus has been on the bigger providers. And in terms of the partnerships, like with the bigger providers, we are partners with most of them. So the hyperscalers, we are with them. Snowflake, Databricks is one, as I was mentioning. We have like Fivetran. We have like so many partnerships that we have. So those are like, because we jointly collaborate a lot on client projects with some of these organizations, and so that part of partnership is very active. The second part of partnerships, where I was describing the SaaS companies, these niche solution providers, that is, I would say, a bit low on our side. And the reason being, like, because we look for, as I said, the criteria is augmenting as a criteria is something which is greenfield, where we don't have a specific solution. And that requires a lot of due diligence from our side as well. Can we have that installed, or can we have that in our client environment, considering all the different aspects of the performance, of security, of data privacy, all those things, right? So considering all of those, and then after that, if we see, so it's not just the outcome or the solution, but it is all the other aspects, because we don't want to put the client data in any form of risk, right? So from that perspective, yeah, from time to time we have come across, and we have partnered. But I would say, like, it surely is a longer process for us, and yeah, not as many partnerships as we have with the bigger solution providers.
We understand from the larger partner what value they add, what they add value to you, right? So is there any case study you can mention about how you deal with a smaller partner, how they add value, added value to you as well as the client, and by partnering, kind of how you move the needle for them, right? Is there any kind of you can give? You don't need to even name the company if that's the
Right.
constraint, right? Yeah.
Yep. So I'll give you a recent example, and I know we've been interacting with you as part of that as well. I won't name, but it's specifically in the cloud cost space, if you say. So that is one area, again, as I was mentioning, that it's an important area for many clients as they are relooking at their cloud strategy. And they have already deployed the cloud, but the cloud costs are surely ramping up. Right. So now the partnership here, one of the partnership that we explored is, can we give very detailed and granular inputs to our clients of where the cloud costs are spiraling up, right? And we have our own offerings around cloud cost optimization. But can we go one step beyond that as well? So that is where like we were looking, and then we have been in conversations with the solution provider. They have a SaaS-based platform, and then again, they have like very specific modules and capabilities to look into different dimensions, right? It's not just the jobs taking long time, users in different areas that they can delve in. And which we found that it very well complements to the overall offerings that we have in the cloud space. So this is one just an example that comes to my mind where we have been looking to partner, and again like a lot of these things also depend upon the contracting as we were discussing, because there is an IP, there is a platform that they have, and then the client data, the metadata, how you are going to transfer, how is it going to be managed, and how it scales up, because some of these big clients, their cloud costs and their number of jobs that they run are also pretty high. So a lot of these considerations are being jointly hashed out and to see if it makes the best fit. But just that one example is like that go deep and very specific into that area. So this solution provider, they just mm, uh, provide the solution related to cloud cost, and very granular insights and inputs they provide to the clients where it can solve or they can action upon it, and then they can see considerable reduction in their cloud cost, right? So this is one example that I can give where it is augmenting our offerings, and then we are looking to see how we can partner and take it forward.
Yeah. Got it. So now, probably moving to the next phase. Assuming there's a product, right? They are, they are taking all the boxes, right? We are to primarily looking from the security into various other aspects. Now they're partnering with you. What are going to be the steps, right? Step by step, till which they will be able to start seeing revenue. Could you explain, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Sure. So one thing is right. We will go with so for first step will be like, is there a need or a demand for that service or the offering in our client organizations, right? So that's where it begins. Or have we come across specific client asks, or while strategizing specific areas which need a very granular or a very niche solution to address it. So that's where it begins, from the demand side or the requirement side of things. Now, as we look at the startups, what the step would be that, is there a one-to-one fit with this, with the requirement and the solution? Most of the times it may not be, but is there somewhat overlap between what the offering is and what the requirement is, right? So that is the first criteria that we start with. In case there is, it may not be 1:1, that's okay. But is there a possibility to build quickly or to customize it, as I was mentioning previously as well, to address that specific? So that is another part. What are the kind of data requirements? Does the client have that kind of data? Because sometimes what happens is that you try to solve that problem, but then you require n number of things to do that. And client may not be ready with all those data or all those things that you are asking for. So how easy or simple will it be for the client to integrate or to provide some of those things which helps to address the problem, right? So all those feasibility analysis or mapping of the requirements to the offering, I think that is the first phase where we try to understand the solution from the other side of things. What are they offering? What would they be needing to do that in the first phase? If we are phasing it out, what would they provide in the first phase, which will address at least 50% of clients' requirements, and then we can build on top of it and take it to the next 50%. So that is first level, even before we get into anything. Now, once there is a fit, that okay, there are some things that we can do, and we want to do quick solutions because they have already built the base platform and customizations are there. How long will it take to do that, right? So that is the first part of it. The second part will go into that how it fits in our offering. So that is the important part of the things for us, right? Because we may be working with that client on multiple things, and how does it fit into or augment into whatever we are doing. So example would be, say, we are doing a cloud migration, suppose. So we are moving a client from A platform to B platform. And in that, we see that, okay, as we are doing this, cloud cost will be another part of it. Where as they move to this platform, we have seen from our experience that there will be some cloud cost related things that they would be interested in. Can we bring in this partner to see that they can, while we are doing this, we also provide this service, which will look into your cloud cost and then provide you the specific insights so that you can optimize your cloud cost as you move to or bring in more data and more workloads on the new platform, right? So that kind of augments the offering of the overall cloud migration and cloud cost optimization. So these kind of synergies is what we will try to see, and then go into the next stages of that, how easy it is for the client also. And that's where the other part of it, as I was saying, that what is the credibility or how much work on that platform has been done? Have they deployed it with other customers? What is the feasibility? What are kind of challenges did they face? So I think we look into all these different aspects and dimensions, and then security and all those things come into consideration. So these are like kind of the steps how we go about. And then yes, if things look good, and then we bring the client also into this conversation. But this is the groundwork that we do even before reaching or providing it to the client. And then yes, if there is a synergy that everyone is aligned, then we go into the next steps of how the contracting will work, who will play what role in this entire engagement, and then how it will be helping the client to solve that.
Definitely helpful. Again, probably I will put it saying that again, a product company is really fitting the basic first two steps. At what stage later we will start at saying that, hey, this is the practice, this is a capability. I don't know whether they have the capability, this one within the Latentview, saying that, okay, we would like to do this capability and we will put this many consultant, we will do these many pre-sales people and these many people for delivery, right? I think if it is, for example, say Databricks, you might have done that exercise. At
Yep.
least could you explain what you have done with the Databricks, though it may, as a company size, it may not be replicable for many other products, but at least as a process, they will understand what it takes to reach that stage.
Sure. Yep. And so, Shankar, what happens is, right, in partnerships, you might have seen across your experience, it's about having that mutual win together. So I think the first win and working relationship of having a success is important, and that is the most toughest one as well. So channelizing like all the other aspects of pre-sales, sales engine behind it to take this solution to a larger audience. It will all depend upon if we have a few successes, one or two successes at least, with a client. And that's what has been our experience with the other partnership, the bigger partnerships that we have, right? Where we have come across these platforms being used in our client organizations, or even as they are exploring. We do a lot of work in the consulting and strategy also. So that's where we see that clients are evaluating multiple platforms to decide which platform would they best fit their needs, depending upon their requirement, business outcomes that they are trying to achieve. And from our perspective, that's when we try to map it back that whether Databricks will be the right fit for them, depending upon what they are doing. And then we work with the partnership team. We have a dedicated partnership team, which is working very closely with Databricks partner ecosystem. And that's where we jointly go and pitch and then work and then implement it for the clients. I think that same replication can happen in the other side as we are looking at the solution companies to partner with. But at least one or two success stories or joint successes is important for that confidence to build across both, across maybe Latentview or some other organization and the provider as well. Uh, I know the first two is usually the start is always the difficult piece, right? You have to climb that mountain and then probably things become more easier, I would say, in terms of working relation, in terms of what are the strengths, what the other party brings in to the table, and how we can take this to a larger market. So from that perspective, I would say like putting more firepower of the engine in terms of pre-sales, sales, or bigger market. It will depend upon at least doing one or two successes and then taking it. Usually, it's a bit of a conservative approach, but I think that is the approach most organizations will take. It also gives them opportunity to learn, to understand what the other partner brings to the table, and then take it bigger.
Okay, sure. Vivek, there are multiple questions coming to mind, right? So if I'm a product, I know it is, I believe that we have done the basic testing and it is solving some of the needs of your clients. Shall I go to the CEO or shall I go to the partnership head, get their blessings? Because most of the time the real work doesn't happen at the at the ground level, right? At the account manager who is not ready to introduce to the client for whatever the reason, right? I think their plates are full and stuff. So if I think you are also an entrepreneur, right? See, if you are an entrepreneur, how do you really do that? Really, you will go from the top-down approach, or you will really do the homework of bottom, which is the exact client. Probably instead of I'm telling the answer, I like to listen to you. How will you go about it, Vivek?
Right. So I see, right? So some of the, as we are saying that the product or the solution that they are building or platform they are building, it's in a certain stage and they want to do that validation. Uh, I would say being entrepreneur, I guess go top down. If you are trying to find an audience and connect or reach out to the people who actually will drive this decision is what I would suggest to the startups, right? That look for your network, look for the people who are aligned or are in line with the solution that you're trying to provide, and try to find out and see it's also an iterative process, I would say, for the startup specifically, right? You need to talk to, you need to showcase your product to n number of people out there, and you never know where the success will come from or who has that requirement which will click, and then they would like to jointly explore it or take it to the next level, right? So from that perspective, I think spread your net wide, try to see, focus on, but bottoms up is like, so I put it, I'm not fully rejecting the bottoms up approach as well, but have your team do that bottoms up on a regular basis, because that process will take time. It will be slow. The top down will be faster. If you get an audience, it will lead you to some result sooner. Bottoms up will be like building that slowly. You are getting into that organization, understanding, and again, is there a overlap? If not, you may have to again start that process with someone else or somewhere else, right? So I think bottoms up is a process you continue as an engine, but top down is where you should go if you are in that stage, still trying to validate your solution and see that is there a fit with a particular organization or organizations in general. And yeah, I think there's nothing like go for it, reach out to the right kind of stakeholders that you think would be the right audience for your solution. And again, right, showcase it to as many people as I would say, because you will also get some good feedback, which is very important. Like people who have seen that or are seeing it in the industry or on a day-to-day basis, they may provide you some of the valuable feedbacks which might help your solution to take to the next level.
Vivek is, the startups are resource constrained, right? One of their scarcest resources are time, right? So when you say spread wide, it's definitely good, right? Probably for a large company, it is very much possible they can do events and they can really spread wide. Here, obviously I'm ready to do even spread wide, believing saying that after climbing the mountain there is something there. Now we need to make all the investment upfront, saying that do all the investment and then figure out what is it. But if you do at least bottom up, at least I will know. For example, you are handling media and entertainment, right? Now I say that okay, my solution is fitting for say Fox. Now I do the work whether Fox is using my solution and who is within. So I can do all the work. So though I will going to put an effort, at least I will get an yes or no specifically. Rather than going from the top down, I do all this work and but things doesn't move at the ground, right? How do you see this, Vivek?
No, I agree. Like startups have resource constraint in multiple ways, right? The time in terms of the resources, in terms of how much they can channelize to. But what I would say is, right, first part of it is look for the network, because network for the startups is the thing. And how do you build that network? Maybe a platform like yours, or maybe there are like events, maybe there are multiple ways of doing that, spreading the word. Right, and there are effective ways as well. Like you can do it with lesser resource, but then at least reaching the right audience who would be the buyers in certain cases, or maybe collaborators in other case for your solution. Uh, Top down, why I said is right that even bottoms up is not easy, right? As taking an example of Fox or some other media platform. Uh, Even for a known brand itself, it is a bit difficult. For an unknown brand where you are just trying to talk about a solution or a platform, and you may be solving the right type of a problem statement, but in this big organization, say Fox or some others, do you know who is your buyer, or who you are going to target? It's also a process, right? So I think from the time perspective, even from bottoms up, it will take considerable amount of time for you to reach to the right buyer or the stakeholder, to showcase that platform, and then get them onboarded. So, but again, like if I'm understanding it right, you are from the partnership angle. Are you?
For example, assuming saying that Latentview is having Fox as a client,
Yeah,
and there is XYZ who is the account manager managing data migration, right? I think you do 5 different work, but one of the work is data migration, and
right.
my product is in the whole data migration. It does something which is missing in Latentview. I'm putting all these if condition, right? I think the scenario. Now, one I can do is go from the top and say that figure out from the whole universe of clients which can be fitting this. But here I can do this one saying that hey, because the Fox is looking for something and Latentview is a client and they are doing exactly this, where my product is there. Then I go to the account manager and say that, hey, boss, this is what I'm doing. Can it help? Do you think that account manager, without knowing a big brand, right? Because the product is not a very big brand, will they listen, or what could be the real, what could happen, Vivek?
Right. So here, Shankar, the way I would see is right that if the startup is solving a specific problem, then there will be more traction. And I would say, right, if you go top down, you have much broader audience that you can reach out. Like taking an example of Latentview, if you go top down, you will be not just media entertainment, but we have other verticals too where this common problem can be there, right? That providing more observability into the data, how it moves. It depends, irrespective of the entity or the organized vertical. This problem is to be solved. So you will are getting a much bigger audience by going top down, because at a top level, someone will say that, okay, this is something which is augmenting our current offerings, or maybe it is something that we would love to have as part of our offerings. Can we then take it to say multiple verticals, right? So you are moving away from a account based or one single reach out to a one account manager or whoever. You are reaching to a bigger, and then you never know that where in this entire piece your offering may be. Media entertainment may not have that right use case at that point in time, but maybe somewhere industrials has that use case. So that's why I'm saying that go top down, where you will have a wider audience. because your solution, you know that it's solving a specific problem and it's multi-industry or multi-domain, right? So don't restrict there. You will have to go individually and do that. Top down is more like where you will have much wider in one go. And there again, like don't restrict it to one. Go top down into multiple, because there will be multiple people in organization like Latentview and even similar or other organizations. So yeah, try connecting them, and then probably it would yield more outcome for your effort.
I think we had a thorough discussion here. Another interesting part where the products as a concern is like the white labeling aspect, right? So why, SI or a partner is looking for a white labeling of a product company, Vivek? Not to put you in a spot, but try to get your perspective.
Right. So the thing is, right, what happens is there are these big engagements going on where SI or the vendors, they are already in work. The work is already going on with the clients, right? And as I said, that Latentview as an organization, we offer X number of services that we are working with our clients. Now, if a new capability we find it interesting, we try to see that how it fits within the number of things that we are doing and how it will augment that piece, right? From that perspective, there is some sort of flexibility that is needed in terms of the offering that is coming in. To it has to be a seamless integration with our other offerings is what we feel. It is from both our perspective as well as client's perspective, right? If they are taking, like we are building 5 solutions and other services for them, this solution should not be a totally different, which requires a different way of seeing at the data, which requires a way of managing the data very differently, because that's an overhead for everyone involved in that. So from that perspective, I think some white labeling is what SI or vendors look for, where you have a white labeled version of the solution, and can it be used with the number of offerings that we do, right? So that is usually most of the time the uh, intent or the thought process. But yeah, I would love to like understand more, like where you're looking for anything specific.
I'm asking is like it should look similar, right? Or it should be seamless experience for the client. That no, definitely understand. Probably if you can tell the product saying that, hey boss, this is the way we want to deliver it to the client, it's fine. But why it should be in the name of, say, for example, Latentview, why it should not be in the name of that particular product itself? Is there any
So
challenge?
So see, it will depend upon like from client to client and from organization to organization, right? What happens is even so. See, it's not just uh, the capability or the solution. It's also about contracting, right? At times, what we have seen is that getting the client agree to some of these new solutions, there is a lot at stake for Latentview or for the system integrator, the partner as well, because that's some of these relationships are for several years, like 10 years, 8, 10 years, right? And when we introduce a new solution which we have a limited control on, or maybe though we have done the due diligence, but there is another third party involved who manages that solution on an ongoing basis, and we are partnering there. I think that entire relationship we are putting in front of or bringing a new component in that relationship or the things that we have been doing. So from that perspective, most of the times what clients are comfortable with is working that we have worked with you for 10 years. We know you guys or as an organization, and there is a trust that is there. Building this, there will be several questions that come from the client side. What has been there? Who are the clients that they have served in? What is it that? So I think that trying to just minimize that kind of friction, and also taking that building on that credibility, can we push this new solution also as part of the umbrella that we are offering, right? So that is usually the intent because there is a lot at stake when we take some of these solutions to our clients and deploying it. And so these are major organizations, right? A small mistake also can be very disastrous in terms of reputational risk, in terms of their overall performance. So we would love to at least, and that's again from the SI perspective, they are also taking that on the credibility that they have built, introducing a new solution and taking it. So I think that is more, it's nothing more of a technical thing of sort. It's more of the goodwill and the credibility. I think someone signing on top of it and putting it in client environment, they would like to have some control around that.
Got it. Probably I say what I listen is I will kind of put it into one is you don't want more what I say more queries during the sales process. Try to close the deal as early as possible, and also probably from the contracting perspective, I think it will become far easier for you not having too many people
Correct.
because some of the enterprises they don't want to sign multiple parties. So those are the things. You
Exactly.
know, okay, okay, got it, Vivek. Sure. And no, the other aspect which is normally the the company which is say after one or two clients, the IT services companies because they have the capability, why wouldn't they copy, right? So what would be your take on these kind of apprehensions, Vivek?
See, that happens in every area. So I would say, yeah, usually it's all done through contracting. How robust can you put the contracting in place? And again, right, there is usually what I have seen is that IT services or bigger organizations value the partnership, value that they have. See, if they had to do that, they would have done that already, but I think their focus is more on doing other stuff, right? For us, like strategy projects, how do you do bigger engagements, migrations, bringing them and solve specific problems for our clients. Now, some of these areas probably, again, right? The market is super crowded, if I may put, Shankar, from that perspective, right? Any startup saying that I am doing this and no one else does that would be exaggeration, right? So from that perspective, I think,
Agree. The it's not a no, the product is not super unique or anything, but
right,
no, probably at the time of initial validation, they say that because they don't want to assume this what as I know company's apprehension is like they don't want to make the initial investment or the initial effort on identifying an opportunity, identifying the product, but now they deployed it a couple of clients and they really saying that hey, this is fantastic and this can be now can be used in say 50 other clients. Now,
right.
why should they keep on giving a good cut to the product? Why wouldn't they build it by themselves? Because now they have a clear proof. So this is a kind of thought. Yeah,
Right. No, and if I look from change the side and look from a startup's perspective, I think that apprehension, that thought will surely be there. Uh, So it's, I would say now it is a risk that has to be taken. And again, you safeguard it with the type of the contracts that you put in place. At times also happens is that if the same solution has been implemented and has seen success, instead of building it ground up, probably the bigger organization may say that can we acquire this, right? So, or can we bring it as part of the fold of our offering? So it can go either way. And again, like I don't have a good answer to it, but what I would say is like safeguarding it through your contracting process, how you have framed that contract, how you are protecting your IP around it. I think the outcomes can be different. And many a times, yes, no one can stop another firm to build it ground up, but why would they spend an effort when they have seen that something is working? And can that be, yeah, acquisition target for that matter?
organization DNA.
Yeah.
You're a service company, and that is a product, right? Will these two match? I think from that perspective also, because as a product, you will keep on doing benchmarking. and you do invest a lot in UA, UX, as well as you do upfront investment on the marketing. It's a different animal compared to a service where you look at, even if you want to add another capability, you will expect a return, right? So whether these also mismatch will disincentivize, especially a listed company like Latentview, to invest again a significant money in a particular product. How do you look at that as an argument, Vivek?
Right. No, very true. But see, it's building upon the success if that product has helped in opening new organizations or in expanding the reach within existing organizations and is providing that capability augmentation to our existing offerings. Surely, I think the product, how do you take it to the market is very different than how you sell services and then how do you manage those, right? But it can be that you may not be taking it as a product, but as part of your service offerings, right? So it depends upon how the organization looks at it, how it complements, and whether it helps you to expand your market and reach as well as your offerings. So, but yeah, product and services are very different in terms of the sales processes and terms of the revenue that you generate in terms of how do you keep using it repeatably. But again, that is more of a strategic thought process that how it integrates and whether it's being sold as a product or is it being sold as a service offering out of your entire other services that you provide, right? So, but again, if there are success stories, if that has helped the organization to sell more, I would think the organizations will surely take a closer look and see if that fits or should be part of their entire service offerings.
Probably last couple of questions. Um, the SaaS product pricing might be very different from a service company's pricing, how they do it to the client. When there is a conflict of the way the pricing is being done, how do you look at that, Vivek?
Right. So yeah, no, for sure. That is the SaaS and the services. Usually what we have seen is right that there is this, we try to, because either the company, the SaaS company has a separate contract with the client, the third part, the client. In that case, like the pricing, whatever the SaaS company provides, it goes as part of the invoicing and gets done. Many a times it happens is that it's part of the same bigger contract that the service provider has. And in that case, the way the contracting usually has worked is the organization, the vendor pays to the provider, solution provider, while billing the entire amount to the client in the forefront, right? So that's where it is. But again, because the overall invoice goes to the client as part of a bigger contract, and then whatever is the percentage or the amount to be billed or to be provided to the client through the provider, that goes to them. So, but yeah, the pricing is something that needs to be negotiated. And again, I see it as more of a case by case basis. What pricing would work out ultimately for the client and for the organization as well.
Why I'm asking this is you have a quarterly or half-yearly payment from the client,
Right.
but the product, they have a monthly or usage-based fees, right? I think the way they charge will be very different. So will Latentview pay out of their pocket, expecting the client will pay later? Or it will never be the case. So how, because then there's a conflict, because the startup may
Right.
not have that much of bandwidth, or even the way they billing and other things also has to be restructured, re-architected that way. That is again, have you encountered any kind of issues?
So we have not gotten into those type of contracts, to be frank, where it's a bulk payment at end of, because we also usually look for monthly or the kind of payment, unless because we have different models, right? We have a fixed scope model where you deliver the scope, and then at the end of the scope, you have a payment done. But many of our engagements are managed services, what we call, right? So managed services is that we have dedicated teams working with the clients on different types of use cases and scenarios. And there the monthly billing cycle happens. So from that perspective, in most cases, at least for us, we have seen that it aligns with the monthly billing if SaaS or a vendor or a provider wants. But having said that, if I am to comment on that part, I think vendors will not pay upfront if their billing hasn't happened, and if the SaaS provider is looking for a monthly billing. So, but we haven't come across those scenarios, as I said. But I think that would be the general thing. The SaaS providers may face a challenge with that kind of a model, where if they are asking the system integrator to provide the billing monthly, while their payment happens, say, 3 months or say every quarter or half yearly.
Definitely. Probably the last question, and as we are coming to the end. You mentioned saying that the first and foremost saying that whether the SaaS product is solving a particular problem, right? Which is, but as you also mentioned that it is not a unique, right? So how do they really validate, hey, am I a good fit to the particular SI? Because even within the SI, there are so many SIs. So how a particular product can really go about it, right? Saying that, hey, whether these particular SIs really fitting, whether I will be a fitment to their offering, can I solve problem for them, or do they already have so many partners, or do they have already internally some kind of tools and build them there? I think, is there any shortcut, or it is like go reach out, figure out, how does it work?
Yeah, I don't think there is a shortcut to it, Shankar, because as with most sales or product market fit, or you can call it in this case like a partner versus your product provider. I don't think there is a shortcut there, and that's where I said that connecting, talking to, or showcasing that product to as many folks in the industry, in your the ICP that you are trying to go after. That is the most organic and the most tried way, which I would suggest. And again, like some of these things, I know you mentioned about the resource constraints, but the shows or different types of events that happen, right? That is also a good way of showcasing to a larger audience, and talking about it, about your product, about the areas that they solve, and looking at it from that perspective. Because I don't think there is a shortcut to selling at any point in time, whether you are selling it to the end client or whether you are selling it to a partner. It is a process, and yeah, you need to take the right steps.
Thanks a lot for spending your time and sharing your valuable insights. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Shankar. Great talking to you. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.